You thought the shadows of Pennsylvania had already revealed their darkest secrets. Think again. From abandoned asylums where screams still echo, to cemeteries where restless spirits roam, the next 15 haunted places are even more chilling than the first. Stay with us because what you're about to hear may keep you awake tonight. Farnsworth House Inn, Gettysburg. Built in 1810, the Farnsworth House Inn began as a simple brick residence, but soon became a silent witness to one of the bloodiest battles of the Civil War. During the Battle of Gettysburg in 1863, Confederate sharpshooters occupied its attic, firing through small windows while soldiers and civilians below endured unimaginable terror. Bullet holes still scar the walls today, preserved as grim reminders of those desperate days. After the fighting, the house served as a makeshift hospital and morgue, its floors soaked with the cries and suffering of the wounded, but the past has never truly left. Guests often report the sound of phantom footsteps pacing the attic late at night, the same place where sharpshooters once waited in silence. Many claim to hear the ghostly strains of a Jew's harp, believed to belong to a young Confederate soldier who died inside the house. In the cellar, visitors have felt sudden drops in temperature and the distinct presence of a weeping woman, thought to be mourning her fallen family. Paranormal investigators have captured EVPs of men whispering military commands, and even the chilling voice of a child. When the lights go out at Farnsworth House, history doesn't rest. It lingers, whispering in the dark, waiting for the next soul to listen. 2. Old Jail Museum, Jim Thorpe, erected in 1871. The old jail in Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania, was designed as a fortress of justice, its stone walls meant to contain the county's most dangerous criminals. But its darkest legacy stems from the Molly Maguires, a group of Irish coal miners accused of violent uprisings in the 1870s. After a highly controversial trial, 4 men were hanged inside the prison on June 21, 1877. One of them, Alexander Campbell, pressed his palm against the wall of his cell, leaving a handprint that, despite countless attempts with chemicals, scrubbing, and even plastering, remains visible to this day. Visitors often feel uneasy as they enter the cell blocks, describing sudden chills and the overwhelming sense of being watched. Some report disembodied voices echoing down the iron corridors, as though the prisoners are still protesting their innocence. Paranormal groups have captured EVPs of whispered prayers and cries, and many witnesses claim to have seen shadowy figures pacing near the gallows. Even seasoned guides admit that after dark, the jail feels alive with restless energy. Step into the old jail museum, and you may find justice is not the only thing that lingers vengeance, too, refuses to fade. 3. Mishler Theatre, Altoona, opened in 1906 by Isaac Mishler. The Mishler Theatre quickly became a cultural gem of Altoona, showcasing vaudeville, silent films, and live performances. But a devastating fire in 1906, just months after its grand opening, nearly reduced it to ashes. Though rebuilt and thriving again, many believe that not all who once filled its seats or its stage ever left. Actors and staff whisper about strange happenings when the theater grows quiet. Cold spots drift across the stage, and the sound of footsteps echoes through the empty balcony. Witnesses have reported seeing a well-dressed man, believed to be Isaac Mishler himself, silently observing rehearsals from the wings. His apparition, fading when approached. On more than one occasion, performers have heard phantom applause from an unseen audience after practice, as though spirits linger to relive the glory of past performances. Paranormal investigators have documented faint voices and unexplained movements of stage curtains. Even when the building was locked tight at the Mishler Theatre, the show never truly ends. Its ghostly audience remains, forever applauding from the shadows. 4. Cathedral of Learning, Pittsburgh. Rising 535 feet into the Pittsburgh skyline, the Cathedral of Learning. Opened in 1937 as part of the University of Pittsburgh, this towering Gothic structure, with its vast stone halls and shadowy staircases, was meant to be a temple of knowledge. Yet, with such grandeur came an unsettling presence that many students and faculty whisper about even today. The cathedral's famous nationality rooms, each designed to reflect a different culture, are said to carry their own spiritual energy. Custodians working late at night have reported hearing footsteps pacing across locked classrooms and the sudden slam of heavy wooden doors when no one else was inside. Elevators are notorious for moving between floors without being called, as if an unseen passenger is riding them. One chilling account tells of a student who stayed late in the one early American room. She heard a man's voice whispering in her ear, though the room was empty. Security cameras have even caught flickering lights and shadowy figures in deserted corridors. The cathedral was built to inspire awe, but in its soaring silence, something else lingers. Something that watches from the shadows, reminding visitors that knowledge isn't the only thing housed within these walls. 5. Penn's Cave and Wildlife Park, Center Hall. Penn's Cave, a breathtaking limestone cavern in Center Hall, has drawn visitors since its discovery in the 18th century. Officially opened for tours in 885. It remains America's only all-water cavern, where guests glide through its chambers by boat. But beneath its natural beauty lies a chilling legend that has haunted the cave for centuries. According to local lore, a French settler fell in love with an indigenous woman named Nita Ni. Her family, forbidding the union, punished him cruelly. He was thrown into the depths of Penn's Cave, left to die. It's said his anguished cries echoed through the chambers until his final breath. Some believe his spirit never left. Visitors on boat tours often describe whispers bouncing off the stone walls. Though no one else is speaking, guides have told of sudden cold drafts sweeping across the water, and some tourists swear they've seen ghostly figures reflected in the cavern's still pools, faces that vanish when the ripples fade. Paranormal investigators have recorded unexplained voices and moans. Their sound eerily close to the legend of the heartbroken prisoner. In Penn's Cave, the water carries more than sound. It carries sorrow, echoing the eternal torment of a love forbidden. Logan Inn, New Hope, built in 1727. The Logan Inn is one of the oldest continuously operating inns in the United States, originally a tavern and a resting stop for travelers during colonial times. It later served as a hospital during the Revolutionary War, where soldiers were treated and many died within its walls. With centuries of history steeped in conflict and sorrow, it's no surprise that the inn has earned its reputation as one of Pennsylvania's most haunted places. Guests often report seeing the apparition of a Revolutionary War soldier wandering the halls as if still on duty, One of the most chilling encounters involves Room 6, where a misty figure of a man has appeared at the foot of the bed, startling guests awake. Others have described the smell of cigar smoke lingering in empty rooms, and the sound of phantom footsteps pacing the creaking floorboards at night. Perhaps most unsettling is the recurring sighting of a mere little girl in colonial clothing. Her ghostly figure seen darting through hallways and appearing suddenly in mirrors. At the Logan Inn, the line between past and present blurs, and the spirits of those who never checked out linger, waiting for the next guest to cross their path. INSAP, Pennhurst Asylum, Spring City. Pennhurst Asylum, originally opened in 1908 as the Eastern Pennsylvania State Institution for the feeble-minded and epileptic, was meant to provide care for society's most vulnerable. Instead, it became a place of neglect, overcrowding, and horrific abuse. For decades, more than 10,000 patients were crammed into its decaying wards, many left in restraints or locked in isolation by the time the asylum was finally shut down in 1987. After a series of lawsuits exposed the shocking conditions, Pennhurst's reputation was one of suffering and tragedy. Today, its sprawling, abandoned campus is infamous for hauntings. Visitors and investigators have reported disembodied screams, banging on the walls, and the sound of chains dragging across the floors. Shadow figures are often seen darting down the long, crumbling hallways, and unexplained voices have been captured on audio recordings, calling out names or begging for help. One of the most chilling encounters happened in the underground tunnels, where multiple witnesses felt invisible hands push or grab at them in the dark. Paranormal teams describe Pennhurst as a place where the air itself feels heavy with sorrow, and the spirits seem desperate to be heard. Step into Pennhurst, and you don't just hear the echoes of the past, you feel the agony of those who were never freed from it. And some say, once you leave, the cries of Pennhurst follow you home. 8. Centralia, Columbia County, once a thriving coal town. Centralia was founded in the mid-1800s and boomed with the anthracite coal industry. But in 1962, a fire ignited in the mines beneath the town, and it has been burning ever since. The underground inferno released poisonous gases, caused sinkholes to open in streets, and forced nearly every resident to abandon their homes. What was once a bustling community is now a ghost town, with only a handful of residents refusing to leave. The eerie landscape is unforgettable. Cracked roads split open by steam and smoke, abandoned houses overtaken by nature, and a silence that feels heavier than any words. Visitors describe the atmosphere as otherworldly, as if the ground itself is alive and angry. Some claim to have seen shadowy figures, moving in the fog, wandering where no one lives. Others speak of distant voices carried on the sulfurous air echoes of families who were forced to leave everything behind. Centralia is more than a ghost town. It's a wound that still burns. And when you stand on those hollow streets, surrounded by smoke and silence, you can't help but wonder if the lost souls of Centralia walk there still. 9. Hex Hollow, Raymeyers Hollow, York County. In the quiet countryside of York County lies a place forever stained by one of Pennsylvania's most infamous tragedies, known as Raymeyers Hollow. The story begins in the early 20th century with Nelson Raymeyer, a practitioner of powwow a form of Pennsylvania Dutch folk healing. In 1928, a farmer named John Blymeyer, convinced he had been cursed, sought out Rehmeyer, fueled by fear and superstition. Blymeyer and two accomplices broke into Rehmeyer's home one November night, intending to destroy his spellbook and lift the supposed curse. Instead, they brutally murdered him, igniting what history remembers as the Hex Hollow murder. The crime shocked the nation, cementing the Hollow's reputation as a place of darkness. To this day, locals speak of strange occurrences around the site. Visitors report disembodied voices in the woods, cold winds that whip through the trees even on still nights, and an overwhelming sense of dread near the ruins of Rehmeyer's house. Some even claim to see a shadowy figure resembling Nelson Rehmeyer, silently watching trespassers before vanishing into the mist. Hex Hollow is not just a story of murder. It is a reminder of how fear can twist into violence, leaving behind an energy that refuses to fade. And those who wander too close often leave with the chilling impression that the curse of the Hollow never truly ended. 10. Gettysburg College, Gettysburg, founded in 1830. Gettysburg College sits on land that witnessed the bloodiest battle of the American Civil War. During the Battle of Gettysburg in 1863, the college's main building, Pennsylvania Hall, was transformed into a makeshift hospital. Here, surgeons worked tirelessly amid the chaos, their efforts often ending in amputations or death. Blood soaked the wooden floors, and the cries of the wounded echoed through its halls. Today, that history has left an indelible mark. Students and staff have reported phantom soldiers wandering the campus, especially near Pennsylvania Hall. One of the most chilling encounters involves the building's elevator. Writers claim it sometimes opens to reveal a horrifying scene: bloodied soldiers and frantic doctors still tending to the wounded, frozen in time. Witnesses describe the vision as silent, but unmistakably real, a glimpse into the college's tragic past. Cold spots, footsteps in empty corridors, and the sound of faint moans at night are common stories. Some even say they feel watched by unseen eyes, as if the souls of the fallen remain tethered to the place where they took their last breaths. At Gettysburg College, history doesn't just live in books, it lingers in the shadows, reminding all who enter that the battlefield's ghosts are never far away. 11. Sachs Covered Bridge, Gettysburg, built in 1804. The Sachs Covered Bridge stands quietly over Marsh Creek, a relic of the 19th century, but its beauty hides a far darker past. During the home Battle of Gettysburg in 1863, the bridge became a strategic crossing point for both Union and Confederate troops. After the battle ended, it took on a grim new role. Local accounts tell of Confederate deserters being captured and hanged from the bridge's wooden beams as punishment for abandoning their posts. That legacy of violence has never faded. Visitors today often describe an overwhelming heaviness when stepping inside the bridge. Some hear boots marching on the planks when no one is there, or hushed voices carried on the night air. The most chilling reports come from those who've seen shadowy figures dangling from the rafters, only to vanish when approached. Others recount the distinct smell of tobacco or gunpowder, as if the soldiers themselves are still lingering. The Sachs Covered Bridge, once a simple rural crossing, has become one of Gettysburg's most haunted landmarks. And as the sun sets and the fog rolls in, The creak of its timbers feels less like the settling of old wood and more like echoes of the condemned who never truly left. 12. Rex Covered Bridge, North Whitehall Township, constructed in 1858. The Rex Covered Bridge in North Whitehall Township was built to span Jordan Creek, serving local farmers and travelers for generations. Unlike many historic bridges, its story is not marked by war, but by whispers of tragedy. Local folklore suggests that during the 19th century, a farmer's daughter met a grim fate here, though the details remain obscured by time. Some say she drowned in the creek below. Others claim her life ended at the bridge itself. What is certain, however, is the chilling atmosphere that surrounds the structure. Visitors have reported disembodied screams, echoing through the night, long after the roads have grown quiet. Some have claimed to see a shadowy female figure, standing silently at the entrance of the bridge, only to fade away when approached. Others tell of hearing footsteps on the planks, even when no one else is near. The most unnerving accounts describe cars stalling inexplicably while crossing, their engines refusing to start until the bridge has released its grip. Locals say the presence is strongest on misty nights, when the outline of the bridge seems to dissolve into the darkness. At Rex Covered Bridge, the past is elusive, but the feeling is unmistakable. Someone or something is still waiting beneath its weathered beams. 13. Fright Farm, Smithfield. What began as a quiet 19th century farmstead in rural Smithfield has, over the centuries, gained a far darker reputation. The land was once worked by pioneer families, but old records hint at hardship, sudden deaths, and even whispers of tragedies left unspoken. Long before it became the popular haunted attraction known as Fright Farm. Locals already regarded the property with unease. They spoke of strange lights in the fields at night, of mournful cries drifting from the empty barns, and of shadows moving among the trees when no one was there. When the farm was transformed into a Halloween destination in the late 1980s, workers began experiencing the inexplicable. Props would be mysteriously rearranged. Tools vanished only to reappear in locked rooms, and sudden cold spots chilled the air, even in midsummer. Some staff refused to enter the attic after reporting dark figures darting across the beams. Visitors, too, claimed to encounter more than staged scares. Phantom hands brushing against them in the cornfields, disembodied voices calling their names, and fleeting glimpses of pale figures watching from the windows of the abandoned farmhouse. Investigators who've toured the site with recording devices have captured EVPs of whispers and faint laughter. And some photographs reveal misty apparitions clinging to the old structures. While thousands now flock to Fright Farm each fall for entertainment, many leave unsettled, convinced that something within those fields is not an act, but a genuine haunting. Here, the line between theater and reality blurs, because on this farm, the ghosts are real, and they never left. 14. Easton Area Public Library, Easton. The Easton Area Public Library, established in 1903, was built on the former site of the German Reformed Church graveyard. During construction, workers unearthed countless human remains, many of which were reinterred beneath the library itself in a basement crypt, now sealed to the public. Though the library became a proud cornerstone of the community, the disturbed graves seemed to leave a lingering unrest. Over the decades, Staff and patrons alike have reported unsettling encounters. Visitors claim to hear the faint rustle of pages turning in empty rooms, or the echo of footsteps while following them down the stacks, only to find no one there. Cold drafts sweep through reading areas where windows are tightly shut, and security guards tell of lights flickering back on moments after they are switched off. Perhaps the most chilling stories come from those who've glimpsed shadowy figures drifting between the shelves, their shapes vaguely human, yet translucent, dissolving into the dim light. Some librarians have even whispered of a pale woman in old-fashioned clothing who lingers by the basement door, as if keeping watch over the disturbed souls below. At Easton's library, silence is never truly empty. Beneath its foundation lie the restless dead, and above, their presence lingers like a hushed whisper, ensuring every visit feels as though unseen eyes are watching. 15. Hotel of Horror, Saylorsburg, Poconos. The Hotel of Horror. In Saylorsburg is more than just a haunted attraction. It is a crumbling relic with a past steeped in mystery. Originally built in the early 1800s as the Lake House Hotel, it served weary travelers journeying through the Pocono Mountains. For decades, guests passed through its doors. But by the mid-20th century, the once thriving inn fell into disrepair. When it was finally revived as a seasonal haunted house, staff and visitors quickly discovered that the building did not need fabricated scares. Its walls already held secrets of their own. Actors and workers preparing the space have reported cold spots that move like a breath across the room, and doors that slam shut with no wind or explanation. Guests exploring the attraction often feel as though someone invisible is brushing past them in the dark, or hear low whispers calling their names. Paranormal investigators who entered the hotel recorded chilling EVP's voices of men and women uttering words that no one present had spoken. Some even claimed to have seen a gaunt figure in old traveler's clothes, silently wandering the halls before fading into the cracked wallpaper. Staff insist he is no actor. He is something the hotel refuses to release. At the Hotel of Horror, staged frights may draw the crowds, but it's the authentic spirits of the past that ensure no visitor ever forgets what they've truly encountered. We've walked through prisons where curses never fade, hotels where ghostly guests never check out, and cemeteries where the dead refuse to sleep. But these stories are only the beginning. If you dare to uncover more haunted truths from across America, join us for the next chapter, where the spirits grow even louder and the darkness even deeper.